Hello and welcome back. This is our lesson for interpreting remainders. So before we get started, I do just want to introduce that word remainder. So a remainder is when you're doing a division problem, the number of things that remain after you've done that division. And we are going to try to decide what we're going to do today. So with the remainder today. So one thing we could do is split it. So if you have one extra pizza, you can decide to split that pizza into pieces so that each person gets part of that pizza. You can ignore the remainder, like when we were talking about Egbert or Elbert and his eggs. He was making groups of 6, and then we were just ignoring if there was a 7th egg. We were just going to ignore that one and get rid of it, pretend it's not there. He ate it for breakfast. Um, or you can round up. We did a problem where Oliver was collecting Pokemon cards, and he needed to store his Pokemon cards on a sheet. So he didn't want to ignore his extra Pokemon cards. We had to actually round up to get another sheet of paper of plastic to store the cards. So that's what we're going to do with our remainders, with our leftovers today. So to get us warmed up, we're going to think about gum. So Charlotte, Seela, and Amani share 13 sticks of gum. How much gum would each person get if they share it equally? You can try to pause this video now and try to solve it on your own. All right, if you're going to continue, you know me and I like to do my visuals. So I'm just going to do, so I have, well, first let me start with the people. So I have Charlotte, I have Seela, and I have Amani. So each person, we want them, they're all kind, sharing kind of folks. So they're going to be sharing the gum equally. So this is a stick of gum. So first we need to get 13 sticks of gum, and we could even divide that. So like here's 1 stick, 2 sticks, and 3 sticks. So we have 3 sticks of gum so far. We have 3, 6, 9, 12 sticks of gum. But then we have a 13th stick of gum. So now we have to decide, what are we going to do with this extra stick of gum? Well, if I go back to the board, we could split it, ignore it, or round up. Well, we could ignore it. We could just say, well, no one gets this, and I'm going to throw it away. But that's kind of a waste of gum. We could, so we're not just going to ignore it. We can't round up because I don't have any more gum to pass out, and it wouldn't be fair. If Charlotte got more gum, it wouldn't be meeting their goal of splitting equally. So instead, we're going to have to slice this gum into pieces. We're going to split it. That was not the color that I wanted it to be. Okay. So that's not very fair either. Amani taking a bigger piece than everyone else. No, I just drew the picture badly. All right. So if I went back, then I could do Charlotte is going to get this piece. Seela is going to get this little bit. And Amani is going to get this little bit. All right. So that's great, but how much gum would they get? Well, we can see clearly 1, 2, 3, 4. They each get 4 sticks. But then there was this remainder. We decided to split it. So each of these ends up being 1 out of how many pieces total? 3. So Charlotte gets 1/3. Seela gets 1/3. and Amani gets 1/3. So they end up each getting, move those also, 4 1/3 pieces. Better than just getting 4, so it was worth the split. So now, let's say Madison, Deshelle, and Anthony want to share 16 books equally. That should read how many. How many books would each person get? So before we start to figure this out, we need to think, first of all, what are we dividing? Are we dividing up people or are we dividing up books? So we're not going to saw people in half. So instead, we're going to be dividing the books. So once again, we could have an M for Madison, a D for Deshelle, an A for Anthony. We know that there are 16 books, so we could do Madison, Deshelle, Anthony, Madison, Deshelle, Anthony. Or we can just try to divide it. So that would be like 16 equals, let's see, there are 3 people times something, the number of books. 16 times, 3 times what would be 16? Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, I like that. So 5 books, 5 books, and 5 books. Add that label to there also. I think it's helpful to have the label just to remember, what are we dividing? Oops. What are we dividing here? We're not dividing people, we're dividing books. All right, so Madison gets 5 books, Deshelle gets 5 books, and Amani gets 5 books. All right, so we're getting closer to solving this problem, but that's 5, 10, 15 books. We have 1 book left. Can we do like we did with the gum and slice it in 3 different pieces? It's not really going to work that way. You can't take a book and say, well, I'll get the first 5 pages, you get the next 5 pages, and you get the last 5 pages. Like, it doesn't work that way. So we can't split it. So that's not going to work. We can't split it. What would it be if we ignored this remainder? That means that this last book, we're going to just ignore it, pretend like it's not there, so no one gets that book. Maybe. Could we round it? Could we say that, well, each person, well, just give them 6 books. And we can't round it because they only have 16 books. So that must mean that we are going to ignore this remainder. If you have 1 extra book, we can't do anything with that. So we're just going to put it back on the shelf. So how many books will each person get? They each get 5 books. There's 1 remainder. We're going to ignore it. So they're each still going to get 5 books. And that's it. So what we're going to be trying to think about is, with the extras, with the leftover, with the remainder, are you going to split it and share? Are you going to ignore it like the extra egg or the extra book? Or are you going to round up and try to give like a full extra page? So you can give those a try, and then reach out if you have any questions. All right, good luck.